What's going on, Bridging the Gap?
Hey,
It's
it's Cheryl
and Roger, and
from Ghana.
from Ghana. We're still here, and wanted to share with you guys a little bit about the meet and greet. So we did have a handful of people came out to the Fairview Hotel and spent some time with us, and so we kind of wanted to just share with the group a little bit about that. It wasn't a long gathering. We were there for a couple of hours and sat and talked a little bit about um, people's visions of Ghana, some of the struggles that some of the people here are seeing in Ghana, and just really a good conversation with all age ranges represented, both sides of the pond represented, and a good discussion on how to move forward. So
I just wanted to say too, we had a couple young men that drove in from Volta,
from the Volta
from the
region,
Volta region.
they're both nurses
Yeah.
up in Volta.
And that's
And
about
they-
a 2 hour, three.
Took them 3 hours
3
to
hours
get
to
here,
drive.
and they had to be to work the next day.
Mhm.
So they weren't going. They didn't come for Afrochella. They came to meet us, which was humbling and awesome. And they have some really good input into this conversation. And we're going to share their input with you once we can show you a picture. You can see who we're talking about. Then we also had a young lady who came simply because of the videos. Her boyfriend was born in Ghana, been in the States for, I believe, 24 years. And I don't know that he's been home much, or if this may have been the first time home in a long time anyway. And he was trying to get her to come, and he's been forwarding her the Bridging the Gap videos. And she told us she didn't really come to see his homeland. She came to see us, which was
I'm sure she
an
came
honor.
back too. But
She
that
came.
was the final push she needed.
That was what that's what pushed her over the edge,
Yeah.
was the video. So
Hi.
right. It was that was pretty cool. I'll just put it like that. It was pretty cool. So what else do we want to share before we put the picture up and shows the crowd that came out?
I don't know. It was just nice seeing the people that came out, and I wasn't sure anybody was going to show up, to be honest.
Yeah, we got a lot more comments
I
on the
didn't know.
posts than actual attendees, but it was okay. It actually worked out just about
I
right.
think the people who were supposed to be there were
Yeah,
there. It
we're
was
there.
a perfect blend of people.
And thought
Yeah.
processes
Yeah.
and mindsets and ideas and things of that nature. It was just enough of us to sit around one big table at Sam's Place, have a soda or a beer or whatever, and sit and chat for a couple of hours and kind of brainstorm. It was really kind of cool. And then we ran into one couple the next day at Afrochella.
Yeah. That's
what?
JoJo and
Yes.
Sherry.
I'm not
Sherry?
saying names. One, I can't
I'm
remember everybody's name. Two,
Yeah, we're
I'm
bad
not,
at names.
I'm not sure I can pronounce them right, so I'm staying out of the name game.
We're bad at names. Don't take it personal. Please don't take it personal.
It's not intended.
Both of us.
Look, I'd rather not say
Bad
anything before I tear it up. So, and I've torn up some names on these videos, so we try not to. So let's pull up the picture.
Okay.
All right, so let's go, left to right? So since Cheryl already mentioned his name, that's JoJo on the left, and his girlfriend who came to Ghana to meet us, which was really kind of cool. And this is a couple that we ran into at Afrochella, and we also ran into a young brother at the same time. We all kind of bumped into each other. A young man by the name of Echo Simpson, I believe it's pronounced it Echo. And Echo Simpson was the first Ghanaian YouTuber that we ever watched. And he was doing a video about a chief in the Cape Coast region, I believe it is, who's giving away 5,000 acres of land, giving away 5,000 acres in 100 by 100 plots, I believe it is, to diasporans who want to come home or who want to just even build a rental property, an Airbnb. He's giving away land. And when we first started exploring, coming to Ghana, moving to Ghana, that was the first video we saw. So we ran into him and realized that he recognized us because he's been watching the channel. And we ran into JoJo and his lady at the same time. It was pretty cool. So we got a nice little fit. Did we pull that? We should have pulled that picture and put it on here too. Anyway, we'll probably the picture with us and Echo Simpson and JoJo and his lady Afrochella.
Yeah.
We didn't think to put that on here.
Yeah.
We'll try to share that in another video. We got a bunch of stuff we got to share with you guys. So anyway, JoJo is a structural engineer in Virginia, I believe it is. And his lady is an educator, a teacher. And so as we start talking a little bit about some of the projects here and what we're working on, his lady, who actually came to meet us, may be an integral part in what we're trying to do in the North. As an educator, there's a real need for schooling and education, and she's actually put together schools. So as Cheryl was saying, the people who needed to be at this meeting were there. She came for the reasons she came for, and it just turns out that she has a skill set that is going to be integral to what we're trying to pull off here in Ghana. So that's those two. And then the next couple by them are from Houston, right?
Yep, Houston area.
Houston, Texas, actually a retired couple. By the way, JoJo is, well, we mentioned JoJo's from Ghana. The other gentleman right behind them, he's also from Ghana, and she's an American. And they're retired now. So they're actually in the process of building a home here in Accra. And I can't remember the area in Accra, but it's a really nice part of Accra. It's building a large house and looking at kind of, pouring back in here, and had a lot of ideas and talked about a lot of things that we discussed on the channel and addressing those things. So looking forward to connecting with them because they're going to be moving here this year as we're going to be moving here this year, which is cool. The gentleman right next to Cheryl, taller gentleman in the orange shirt, is one of the two young men that came from Volta that are nurses. But this young man is also actually a farmer in the north. He has, in the Tamale region, up north Ghana. He has a cattle farm. Isn't that what it was?
I can't remember, I believe so.
I'm pretty sure he has a cattle farm up there. And so we were talking to him and asking him if he could be a nurse, if he could farm the farm to make it as profitable as he'd like it to be, would he continue to be a nurse? And his answer was yes. So there's a passion there about nursing, but he was expressing to us some of the struggles that we saw when we were up north before we had the meet and greet. And that is there's the profitability margin in the north is so slim because there's so much to grow up there, but getting it to the south is the challenge. And they have what's called traders, basically people who will come take the product off of the people who are doing the farming at a low price. They have the ability to transport. They transport it to the south where it's needed, and they mark it up and they make the lion's share of the money. Haven't produced anything. They're just the go-between, but they're making the majority of the money. So this young man has about 8 employees, and they're barely just kind of getting by. There's not a real profit in it. And so he was saying that, if he could figure out a way to get his product to market, he would love to do both and just grow the farm and employ more people, which would benefit that region because there's a lot of poverty in the north. So it was good that both of these young men, the other young man on the other side of Cheryl and I, they're both friends and they're both nurses in Volta. And he also has some background in farming or may actually be doing some farming at the same time right now. But to hear their visions as young people on where they're at, where their passions lie, they're passionate about serving and helping people, but they're also passionate about, really the majority of what the economy in Ghana is based on is agriculture. And with that agriculture comes employment opportunities for the people in their communities, which is, we spent a great deal of time talking about those things. It was good to get their feedback. As you can see by this crowd, there was JoJo and his lady were kind of around Cheryl and I's age, and the other couple that were a little bit older than us. And then we had the young folks that we just talked about. And just behind me is the nephew of the couple that is retiring from Houston. And he lives here. He's the nephew of the gentleman there, and he has a business. He has a t-shirt business. He prints like tie-dye t-shirts. Is that one of his shirts?
Yeah.
Oh, so he prints tie-dye t-shirts with the Adinkra symbols, right?
Yep.
So yours is you can't really see.
You can't really see.
It's not super tie-dye. It's just at the bottom on Cheryl's shirt. But he had a bunch of different varieties of shirts that he brought, and I think just about everybody bought something from him. It's just good to see these young folks thinking entrepreneurially, and not just thinking about themselves, but thinking about the people in their communities and how what they're doing can benefit those communities. So this was the group that came out to meet and greet. It was, like I said, a perfect size group, but there's one I can't forget, and that is Juliet. So Juliet left a little bit early, but Juliet is another person that's going to be potentially an integral part of what we're trying to pull off in Ghana. She is a local CPA, or not CPA, she's an accountant and bookkeeper. And so she has volunteered, as we're going to share with you guys, can't get there yet, so I'm not going to ruin the surprise. There's some stuff we're doing up north that she has actually volunteered services for to help young folks who are entrepreneurial minded in the north as they're trying to get their business off the ground. She's going to volunteer there. She's actually potentially coming on board with our project in Volta, and has done some research for me just in the last week as to entity operation here in Volta and taxation. So it was a blessing to have her come, and I'm looking forward to actually working with her ongoing in the future. I'm upset that we didn't think to take this picture before she left, but I can't let her go unmentioned because she was a huge part of this conversation. She had a lot of ideas, a lot of thoughts, and a lot of feedback for those of us who are not from here about how business operates. So that was the whole crew for the meet and greet. It was a couple hours of just, I don't think anybody really even ate. We just sat and talked and had something cold to drink and really chopped up some different ideas and directions on ways to go. And to me, the most powerful part of it was the young folks and their entrepreneurial mindset. Even Juliet, she's about the same age as the young folks in this picture, and she's a businesswoman. She's got some business acumen, and she can be very helpful to people who are not from here, including us, who are not from here, who are trying to do business here. Having people on the ground who understand how things work is a huge part of making a transition in terms of living, investing, just trying to be a part of the solution on the continent. How you do that and how you do it effectively is really going to boil down to the people you have on the ground. Right. And so she was a great resource, and again, a young woman who's about her business and Johnny on the spot with information. So looking forward to working with her. But that was the most powerful part of this, is hearing the young folks and the ideas and the possibilities and wanting to work with them and knowing that these two young brothers drove 3 hours.
And I was talking to one of them because one of the things that we've noticed here, especially this trip, but I think everyone, is that the people who are from here don't necessarily understand the value of the resources that are plenteous here. And when we asked one young man, not in this, not from this meeting, but we were up north.
Yes.
We were talking about something. He said, "Oh, that's rubbish." I'm like, rubbish? It's not trash. It's not trash. There's so much money in it.
You want to tell them what you're talking about?
In the neem.
The neem tree. We talked about this in a past video about malaria or feverish conditions and how they don't worry about that. They have neem trees all over the place, and you can boil it, cook it, whatever, inhale it, and it wipes out any kind of feverish condition.
But it's more than that. Neem is being used for so many products by getting the neem oil out of, I guess they get it out of the seed. I don't know what part they get it out of, but there are neem trees galore. That's just one
Everywhere.
resource that's here.
And it was literally looked at in the north anyway.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's just rubbish.
Yeah, it's just rubbish.
Wow.
No, it's not.
There are companies coming to the continent
Yes.
to pull that out of the continent and sell it out because it's valuable.
Yes. So
it's
that's
crazy.
what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to assisting the young people to really grab hold of what they have here and not desire to go somewhere else or to the West for all this fake stuff. When you've got the real stuff right here and it's valuable and people want it, it just has to be packaged the right way and produced the right way. So that for me, and one young man, I asked him to research it. Don't forget, if you haven't done it, but do your research on it, especially being a nurse, and just let your ideas flow, and you'll have some good ideas and witty inventions, I'm sure, that will come up that you can use to help yourself and to help your community.
Look, the bottom line is, the continent of Africa is richer in resources than any other 2 or 3 continents put together. Everything you need is on this continent. And sometimes you walk right past your blessing. You walk right past what you need to benefit others and to establish your life and your legacy for your family. It's all right here. So use what God has given you.
And for example, I saw an ad about special cocoa, special cacao, what is it? Cocoa tree, whatever, cocoa nut.
Cacao.
Yeah, cacao. And the ad talked about, this special tree you get in South America.
This is cacao.
Yeah. They're everywhere here. So they're selling this special chocolate that's supposed to do all these things, and it's a superfood, and it's growing on trees everywhere here. 65%
of the world's cocoa comes from Ghana and one of the neighboring countries.
Right.
65% of it.
And so you got people, because the person running this ad doesn't look like us, but they go to different places and they find out these resources and the benefits and the health benefits and all this stuff, and then they market it when it's right here growing in your backyard all over the place. But you got to know how it's not just cocoa. It's not just, whatever they're using. I think they said they can get
like 5
cocoa out of it. They do the black soap out of it. They do a few things out of it, but it's not everything.
Actually energy. It's the healthiest energy, like energy drink. Is healthy. So the what they call this, the pod.
Yeah.
The outside part. Yeah. The outside part of it, because there's seeds inside of it that you can just suck on that are sweet. They taste good.
Tastes like candy.
It tastes like sucking on a piece of candy. And that's where the stimulant comes in. But the outside of the pod, there's a bunch of stuff that can be done with it. Nobody's using the pod, and for medicinal purposes.
Yeah.
Nobody's using the pod. They're just
not to the full extent.
To the full extent of what it could be used. There's so many different things right here on the continent that are not being tapped fully.
Right. And we need to be the people that look like us need to be the people to tap in, because others are coming and continuing to get the resources, or they're getting resources and promoting South America or all these other places, which that's fine because they're struggling too, but the same things are here. So it's a matter of taking the resources, producing them in a way that's marketable, and to get some attention on the continent that everything is here.
Yeah,
But we don't want to get it marketed so other people come and do stuff. We need to do it.
Because there's enough of that here already.
Yeah.
There's entirely too much of people who see the value on the continent. We told you guys about the dude that created Twitter, Jack. So he's coming here to live for 3 to 6 months this year because he sees how much potential there is on the continent.
Yeah.
We have to wake up and understand that we need to engage in the process as much or more as outsiders or people who are not of African descent engage in the process. The Lebanese here, and we went to a little shopping center. These Lebanese folks bought property 40, 50 years ago, knowing what was coming, have built this massive mall. It's just beautiful, probably the most high-end shopping center that we've seen in all of Ghana. And they own everything in it.
Indians,
Chinese. It is.
And can't be mad at them. The resources are here. And if you're going to let them come take it, they're going to take it because you don't know what you have. So if you don't know what you have, you can't put a value on it. And so they can give you pennies and you know, making
this right here, this right here in the neem trees, probably several $1 billion that nobody's touching. It's right here. It's being looked at as rubbish. And this right here is being looked at just for the chocolate it can make, when there's so many other things it can do that nobody's tapped into. Somebody's going to tap into it. And needs to be somebody who looks like you and me. And then we give it to the rest of the world. Because in our last video, we mentioned we've done a lot to contribute to society at large. We will contribute, but we need to profit. At the same time, this is an economic game. Everything we're talking about is about economics. Until we change the socioeconomic status of people who look like us, we can't change anything else.
Right. So for the diaspora, the African Americans primarily I'm talking to, but also the other diaspora, they're so busy getting us to think one way about Africa. There's nothing here, third world country, nothing to it, nothing valuable here. All the while they're coming and taking all the resources.
If you'd have seen this Lebanese shop, I hadn't seen anybody that looked Middle Eastern anywhere in Ghana, but they owned this joint. It was beautiful and they were all over the place. All over the place, running every business in there. And you should have seen.
And only, I believe, only Lebanese owned businesses are in those areas.
Yeah, so this is a big shopping center and every business in there is Lebanese owned in Ghana. So regardless of the narrative they tell us about Ghana, you got forget what they say, watch what they do.
And not just Ghana, other parts of the continent.
The whole continent. But I'm just, because we're here, that's our focus. Forget what they're telling you, watch what they're doing.
Exactly.
Jack from Twitter saying he's moving here for 3 to 6 months ought to tell us something. It doesn't matter what they say about Africa. What are they doing in Africa? Because they're all here. And if they're not here, they're trying to get here, just like Jack. So why are we not?
And it's not to help the people. And it's not because they care necessarily about the people.
Which is the troubling part. So as we start to share with you the projects that we're working on here up north and in the Volta region, man, this has got to be about the people. It has got to be about making life better for them. Yes, we'll make some money in the process. That's not what this is about. As a friend of mine, Walter Cotton, likes to say, a rising tide lifts all ships. So we need to rise a tide, a massive tide on both sides of the continent and lift all ships. And that's got to start with, you know, from the bottom up. We learned in America, we know this trickle-down economics does not work. That top-down crap doesn't work because they don't share. They're not ever gonna share. We have to come in and build from the bottom up and empower those people who don't have resources, which is why we're starting in the regions we're starting in the north and Tamale and St. Paula.
They have resources.
They got all the resources and land, and it's just so much land. They don't sell land. They give it away. There's so much land up north that they're like, who's gonna buy it? They literally, you can farm as much land as you can farm because you don't have to buy it, you don't have to lease it, you don't have to rent it, you don't have to, just go develop it. There's so much of it. So we're gonna help them do just that, right? And in the Volta region, the rural areas get so little attention and there's so much poverty. And they're good people and they're not looking for a handout, they're looking for a hand up, and that's what we're gonna give them.
How did we get on this tangent?
Well, we're talking about
That's
the
not
Lebanese and what
this-
they do when
this
they
video
come
is
here.
supposed to be
It's
about.
hard not to, because
I
when
know.
you talk about anything
It was
going
about
on,
the meet and greet.
yeah, but the ideas
Yeah,
and the things
yeah.
that came out of the meet
Yeah.
and greet, and when we talk about what's going on in the continent, I mean, this came out of the meet and greet. You know, neem oil came out of the meet and greet. Things that are right here that are of value that we're not taking advantage of, while others are coming here taking advantage, and they won't even let us put a shop. They won't let anybody looks like us put a shop in their shopping center.
Mhm.
They own and control all of it while making money off of us.
Mhm.
That stuff's got to stop, man.
Yeah.
It has got to stop. We got to change all that.
Yeah.
So before we get off on too many tangents, we got a whole bunch of videos to share, guys, and we're trying to share it all in one because we're passionate about it. There's work that needs to be done. And soon, very soon, in a matter of days, we're going to start sharing some of the work we're doing, and we're going to be asking you guys to come on board and work with us. So we're probably putting the cart a little bit ahead of the horse today, but we're gonna catch up, get that cart and horse in order in a matter of a couple of days. We've been struggling a little bit with internet this trip, so we haven't been able to do much, and there's so much that has taken place in the last 2 weeks. It's crazy. So we'll get caught up eventually. We're not gonna try to vomit on you everything today. So with that, we want to thank those who came out for the meet and greet. It was truly a pleasure. We had a great time, a great mixture of ideas and thoughts and visions on how to make things better. And honestly, we're looking forward to working with each and every one of you and those who are watching this video and pulling, not some, all of it off, and pulling all of it off because it's doable.
Yes.
There's enough resources here to do whatever we want to do. And we have enough capital here and in our pocketbooks in the diaspora to come home and make a real difference.
Make it happen.
While making a buck at the same time. It's a win-win-win scenario.
For everybody.
For everybody. When you see the projections of what we're going to do for these young folks and still make money in the process, it's just a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So
make money and help them make money.
And
good money, not just pennies.
Starting by helping them make money.
Yeah.
The government is not doing, look, let me stop.
Yeah, we got it.
There's so much we could get into. Let me just stop. We'll pick it up on the next video. All right, guys. Have a great day.
Bye.